Hey guys, I want to show you some really quick, easy, and free tools to use to research the car market or the market of the specific car that you may be either selling or buying. CarGurus has a really good tool that they use that here's how to get to it. And this is basic market research and trends. So is that car still plummeting? Is it flat? Is it maybe coming up? Rare, but it happens. So here's how you get to these tools. If you're in CarGurus, you're going to go to Research and Price Trends. So when you go to this tab, you're going to find your specific car. Now this is a basic average. This is called CarGurus Index. This is an average of all cars. It doesn't really apply to anything in particular. But let's say I'm looking to sell a Porsche Cayenne. So again, this is basic averages of all Porsches put together. It doesn't mean anything. So if we go down here and go to the Cayenne, and okay, so then this one is a 21. So if I go to the 21, here is our basic price value kind of indicator. So this is only over from 8/11 of last year to basically today, which is January 12th. So not a really big picture. If you want to open this up a little bit, go to say this whole last year. So update chart, and this is what the value of this car was over the last year. So it started at about 90,000. That was a year ago. Right now, it's worth 70,000. So pretty big $20,000 price drop over the course of a year. So here is what this particular one right here, that the average one was 70,000. Now this is what I don't like about this, is this doesn't take trim levels into account. So this is grouping the turbo, the GTS, the S, the base model, everything together, which doesn't make a lot of sense because the turbo and the GTS retain value a lot more than the base model does. They have their depreciation eventually will start to kind of not necessarily flatten, but not be such an extreme drop where the base model keeps dropping and dropping until it's worthless. So this will show that this is losing 1% over the last month. Over the last 3 months, it's losing about 6.78%. 22% in a year is a lot. This is a little bit of a new car. A 3-year-old car, technically, yeah, it's still depreciating. So not a really safe purchase. But if you want to compare this car to another car that has a worse reputation for plummeting in value, you can actually see it's not always the case. So we'll switch over to this. This is the AMG GT Mercedes. And this is, again, all of them from the S to the C to the R, all grouped into one number, which inconclusive. So here's the interesting thing is the Porsche Macan GTS that I just looked at is a daily driver. It's supposed to get a bunch of miles on it. It does necessarily drop quicker, but one of the quickest depreciating cars in history is the AMG GT. So if we look at this one, same thing. We look at a 20, which is one of the ones I was looking at. Average price is a little bit more than the Cayenne, but look at this. Same time period. Wait a minute. Let's go to the same time period. This is not almost January 23. Okay, so pretty much the same. Okay, so if we go look at this one dropped 12%. So here's the great news, is if this thing dropped 12% over that same year, so it depreciates at almost half the rate as the Porsche Cayenne GTS does. So here's how we can use this to our advantage. Now, if you're buying from a private party and you live in one of the states that allows for no sales tax in a private party purchase, like Arizona, Nevada, New Hampshire, Montana, Delaware, I'm missing a couple in there, but there's about 7 states that allow for this. So if you're one of those, you buy from a private party, you're already saving that tax title, not necessarily title, tax, doc fee, all that crap that the dealers add in there. That's already about 10, 11% of the cost. So if we're depreciating 12%, then you could, in essence, more or less break even over the course of a year. The math isn't quite that simple, but you get the idea that if you're saving 10% right out of the gate, then you're basically a level playing field versus you buy from a dealership, you're 10% underwater immediately. So that's why we buy a private party. But check it out. If we want to research from dealerships, we can do so. So I'm looking at an M6. I like this M6 because it's old enough. It's a 15. The depreciation is slowed way down. It's a great looking car. It's a current body style. This one has 38,000 miles for a 15. That's pretty good. I like this particular car. Don't get me wrong. Love Luxury Auto Collection. This is a great dealership. If I have to buy from a dealership, I buy from them. But let's see what we can do about finding this car through a private party, saving that 10%. So if we stick on CarGurus, you'll find that if we type that car in here, and these results are within 50 miles of where I am here in Scottsdale, Arizona. So look at this, private party 0. Private parties you're going to find are way, way more rare. So I have to broaden the search a little bit. So let's say I go to 500 miles out from where I am now. There's 4. Look at that. 39 cars available at dealers, 4% from private party, which is about normal. There's very, very few private parties. But the private party ones, it's interesting. You either get a really good deal or a really awful deal. There's the people that put them up here at an exorbitant price just to see what happens. And I think that happened a lot during the spike of 22, 23-ish in there. Since that value spike has come way down to normal prices again, people kind of backed off that whole put it up there for a high price and see what happens. So anyway, here's our comparison. So these are basically the comps to this one. So this one is a pretty good example. It's a low price ish. This had a retail sticker of, I want to say 130 ish. And I like that Luxury Auto Collection will give you the original sticker right there, 133. So that's a pretty high spec car. There's a lot of options going on with this thing that I like. So we go back over to here and we look at a couple private parties, and these are way higher miles. Okay, here's one that's kind of a comp, 37,000 miles. It's the same year. It's about the same price as this one. We're 43 over here. We're 47, but this is a coupe. The one at Luxury is a convertible, which definitely brings more money. Now, see, this guy has this price at $7,000 above market value. This is one of those post it and pray guys, which he knows it's overpriced. We know it's overpriced. So this is saying it's worth about $40,000. Not a bad car. We can look at real quick and see what the spec is on BMWs. They put the options right here underneath the headlight switch. So you can't really read these from here, but this is going to be lane departure, heads up. I think heads up display is this one, fourth one in. Anyway, that's where those, let me see if they have a better picture. A lot of people don't. Anyway, that's where a lot of the options are on this particular car. Usually German cars, it's going to be over to the left side underneath the headlight switch. So we can't necessarily see without contacting this guy or looking at the original build sheet, which a lot of people don't list the original build sheet. I always do. I think it's a great idea, but we can't necessarily compare it on this one. So what we can say is, okay, on this market, okay, this defaulted back to dealerships. CarGurus has been doing this lately. So here's this one from Luxury. So if we go back to let's see, if we go back to the distance away from me, let's go nationwide. So this is all of them. We're going to get more results, 13 private parties. Okay, better. So here are our options. There's a convertible. Let's say we want to do convertibles and just, let me see, and they always seem to hide it. Okay, we've got 4 convertibles private party in the entire country. Well, which is what makes this kind of tough. But a lot of times you can find really good deals if you narrow it this far down. So, okay, we've got 67, 69,000 miles for. Okay, so the closest one here that are comparable is 42,000 miles. This is a 12. That's a little old. A 15 is pushing it. A 12, I don't know if I'd buy a car that old that's this high tech of a car. So the closest thing we have here really is gonna be this one with twice the miles. Okay. In this case, twice the miles does not necessarily equal a huge change in value. So this one's 37. The one at luxury, again, was 43. The luxury one is a way better deal than this car. This thing with 69,000 miles, not a deal breaker, but not amazing. So that'll give us a pretty good idea of where we are value wise. And if you can find, and if you're not married to an exact spec or an exact kind of car, come back and keep researching it until we get something that is comparable, that we can compare against this one. If the dealership car is that good of a deal, and if you can get a little bit of price off this is a little bit of a unique opportunity. This one may be worth it for you. But anyway, that's a quick overview of tools that are available to you and me to research car markets on CarGurus.